The fraternity Pi Kappa Phi has dropped its CSUN chapter following the death of 19-year-old pledge Armando Villa. The controversy continues over the arrest of Los Angeles film producer Charles Belk, amidst accusations of racial profiling.
Our system is really, intricate, I guess.
The CSUN women's volleyball team has begun its preseason, picking right up where it left off following last year's winning season.
This is Valley View News.
Welcome to Valley View News. I'm Courtney Faust.
And I'm Dean Perez.
A formal investigation has concluded that hazing played a role in the death of 19-year-old Armando Villa. Villa's death took place during a Pi Kappa Phi fraternity-sponsored hike in the Angeles National Forest. President Diane Harrison addressed the situation at a press conference on campus that drew major news coverage. Harrison stated that the conclusion of the investigation has led the fraternity to voluntarily and permanently withdraw from the university.
Director of Media Relations for Cal State Northridge, Carmen Ramos Chandler, says CSUN has a zero-tolerance policy on hazing.
This was not something the university officials would know. We have a policy. It is quite clear. It's in your student handbook. It is on the university's website, and it is against the law in the state of California to perpetuate any form of hazing. When in doubt, and you think it might be hazing, it's hazing, and it is against the law, and you can be criminally held responsible for taking part in hazing.
Some CSUN students are reacting to how hazing affects Greek life.
You know, it affects it for a lot of reasons, just because of that one incident that happened with Pi Kappa Phi. It affects the rest of us Greeks. Everybody's looking at us as if we haze or as we don't deserve to be on campus because of that one situation. It's pretty put a damper on our whole Greek community.
I think the fraternities are pretty much getting a good understanding of what's okay and what's not okay. I think hazing is totally not cool, that people should not do it. I think there's a very big tragedy what happened with Pi Cap. But I think the fraternities have been talked to and have a better understanding of how to treat their incoming pledges.
We need to see more of how this community is preventing hazing and is promoting ways that are character building, leadership building, and let's empower ourselves by show each other what is wrong and what is right.
Despite the withdrawal of Pi Kappa Phi, other fraternities and sororities are continuing as usual.
Officials in several states are reporting cases of respiratory illness, some severe enough to send kids to hospitals. In Kansas City, Missouri, more than 300 cases were reported last month.
Clusters that have been seen in the past and have been reported have been small clusters of maybe, say, 25, 30 patients, and we were seeing that many patients in a day.
Medical officials say about 15% of the illnesses resulted in children being placed in intensive care unit. 10 states have contacted the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention for help in investigating the virus. These types of illnesses hit their peak in September, but it's unusual that there have been so many hospitalizations.
Mayor Eric Garcetti is calling to raise the minimum wage for all workers in Los Angeles. The proposal would gradually raise the minimum wage from its current $9 to $13 an hour and 25 cents by 2017.
Valley View reporter Lauren Llanos is in Studio B with CSUN economics professor Glenn Whitman.
Thank you, and we are here with Professor of Economics here at Cal State Northridge, Mr. Glenn Whitman. Glenn, thank you so much for being with us today.
It's great to be here.
So we just have a few questions today. So as we know, there are strong advocates on both sides of the argument on raising the minimum wage. What would you say the argument is in favor of raising the minimum wage?
Well, I think the argument in favor is pretty much the obvious one. We know that there are people working at the minimum wage who could use more income, some of them living under the poverty line. So raising their wage would seem like a good idea for those people.
And then what is the argument against raising the minimum wage?
Well, the conventional wisdom in economics is that when you raise the price of something, people buy less of it. Or in this case, if you raise the price of labor, employers are going to buy less of it. They're going to hire fewer of those workers. So you end up with a kind of trade-off. Yes, some people keep their jobs and they end up getting higher wages, but at the same time, we expect that at least some people are either going to lose their jobs or more likely just never get them in the first place because employers don't hire them as quickly.
There are some arguments for raising it as far as people earning more money, being able to spend more money in the economy. Now, in terms of historical perspective, has history taught us anything in terms of raising the minimum wage as helping the economy?
Well, there have been many studies, almost too many to count. And some of them, in fact, I would say the majority of them have in fact confirmed the conventional wisdom, which is that you're going to have some reduction in employment among low-skilled workers. There have been some studies, I'd say the minority, but still a significant number, which have either failed to show a significant effect on the number of workers employed, or that have even shown potentially a positive effect. So raise the wage and oddly enough, you get more workers employed. But I think if you look at them on the whole, in general, what you're going to come away with is the conclusion that there is in fact a trade-off. Now, is it a trade-off worth making? That's something that's harder to say. It involves some value judgments. Do you think it's more important to be able to offer some of those people a higher wage, and are you willing to deal with the cost of the fact that some of those people won't be getting jobs? And the real downside there is the fact that to the extent that people are not able to get jobs as a result of a higher minimum wage, we expect that probably those will be the most disadvantaged people, the ones with the least experience, the least education, and those may be the people that we're cutting off the bottom rung of the ladder for. In terms of how it affects the wider economy, for instance, do people spend a whole lot more money and that leads to better macroeconomic effects? No, it's going to be extremely minimal, and I think this is something that economists largely agree on. When we talk about people who are working at the minimum wage, we're talking about people who constitute only about 2.5% of the entire workforce, and an even smaller percentage of the total population. The increased spending by those people is unlikely to have any major macroeconomic effects, especially once you consider that the money had to come from somewhere, so that means that there are other people, such as the owners and managers of these businesses, who may be making less money. So overall, we would expect probably not much effect one way or the other in terms of macroeconomic effects.
And would you say it might bridge the gap between the immense wealth disparity that we have specifically, well, in this country, but also in this state?
It's also just going to be drops in the bucket. We're going to see very minimal impact there, especially since if what you're interested in is the disparity between households, the truth is the minimum wage is not very well targeted at the very poorest households. As it happens, only about maybe 1 in 5 workers working at the minimum wage is actually in a household that is below the poverty line. Others of them may be in households where there are other wage earners who are not even working at the minimum wage, or who are working at the minimum wage, but together they're making a reasonable income for the household. So the result is that in terms of reduction of poverty or reduction of the disparity between the rich and the poor, again, we don't expect it to have a whole lot of effect. To a great extent, what we're talking about with the minimum wage is a symbolic issue for that reason.
And how does our already struggling economy in Los Angeles play as a factor in this debate? Or is it a factor?
I don't see it being a huge factor. One way that it does play in is the question of whether you would expect those disemployment effects, to the extent that they occur, to be muted or amplified. So if we have a growing economy at the moment, and the truth is we do have a growing economy, it's just not growing as quickly as we would like. But to that extent, it may cover up some of the disemployment effect. On the other hand, if the economy is shrinking or not growing, in a case like that, you would expect to see the effects of the minimum wage more clearly.
All right, well, thank you so much for being with us again today. And back to you in the studio.
The controversy continues in regards to the arrest of a Los Angeles film producer who was arrested in Beverly Hills. A radio broadcast discussion following a news conference gives us more insight on the situation.
The damage of racial profiling, Earl, is the fact that it dehumanizes people, anybody, to just be treated because of the color of their skin, that they're going to be stopped or inhibited from doing something in an area like Beverly Hills. Beverly Hills have to be accountable for this.
Sources do say they invited the Beverly Hills Police Department along with other city officials to come speak in this discussion, but they got no response. It was this photo that went viral on August 22nd, with over 38,000 shares in the midst of racial tension with police, following Michael Brown, Ezell Ford, and now Charles Belk. The only thing different, Belk was not injured.
And I think it's outrageous that they would have this man sit on the curb or sit in a police station for 6 hours, not knowing whether or not he was factually involved in a crime. That's something that they could have deduced very easily. And I think but for him looking like he did, that would not have occurred.
We think it's time now to deal with racial profiling. This is an opportunity for the city of Beverly Hills to frontally address the issue of racial profiling.
The fact is that this particular incident was not racial profiling. from what I saw. And in addition to that, based on what the circumstances were, they didn't treat him really like a suspect.
When they get a call and they say there's a black man holding up the place, and they get there and he's the only black man, it just may be an unfortuitous circumstance, or it may not. We don't know.
An internal investigation still continues. In Los Angeles, Marcelina Rallo, Valley View News.
An old metal bracelet inscribed with the name of a fallen 9/11 firefighter washed up on shore recently in New York. Marlene Quinn found the bracelet. It was inscribed Michael J. Otten, FDNY, Ladder 35, 9/11/01. Quinn remembered the name as a firefighter who died when the Twin Towers fell. Quinn tracked down the family and mailed the bracelet to them. Otten's widow said her son had lost the bracelet at the beach nearly a decade ago.
President Obama says the military will begin aiding West Africa in response to the Ebola virus that has claimed the lives of over 2,000 people. The president said the epidemic is a national security priority and added that the military would be involved in setting up isolation units and other equipment. Obama also warned that the virus could spread beyond West Africa, mutating and becoming more easily transmitted.
The key right now is getting good quality care to as many patients as fast as possible. That means helping them with their symptoms of diarrhea and vomiting, bringing their fevers down, giving them medications for pain, and perhaps most importantly, giving them rehydration.
Obama has asked Congress to provide $88 million to send more Center for Disease Control personnel and equipment to West Africa.
About 100 hikers were evacuated from Yosemite's Half Dome after a wildfire tripled in size. The Meadow Fire began last month, and officials believe lightning started it. Winds pushed the fire into nearby hiking trails and cut off mountain climbers and hikers from park exits. Helicopters safely lifted hikers from various areas of the national park. The ongoing drought in California has contributed to the fires in the area.
Up next, find out which CSUN sports team is on the right track to a winning season.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
I don't feel so well.
Okay, you wouldn't give yourself or your loved one poison, would you? Then why would you take or give counterfeit medications that may contain the wrong or no active ingredient? Counterfeit medications are out there. They can be ineffective and harmful to your health. Be a smart consumer and know your pharmacy, especially if you're purchasing medication online.
And now here's our sports anchor, Eric Roberts, to tell us the scoop.
Thanks, Courtney. As the CSUN school year kicks off, so does the fall athletic season. Valley View reporter Mahina Haina takes a look at CSUN's women's volleyball team and their start to this year's season.
Pass, set, hit. That's the name of the game, and the CSUN women's volleyball team is determined to be the best at it. CSUN co-captains Natalie Allen and Casey Hinger say their team has been working hard and is excited to start the new season.
During double days, we worked a lot on our system. Our system is really intricate, I guess you'd say. So the fact that we've been working on it and the fact that our freshmen know our system now is key for our success.
When we came into double days, it was a lot smoother process. Everyone was in shape and we were able to work hard from the start.
Last year, the team accomplished many feats never done before by a CSUN women's volleyball team. Hinger says because of that success, they are working even harder this season.
It was so amazing to be a part of and watch each team experience it a little bit differently and grow a little bit differently, so that was really fun to be a part of.
The team is off to a good start. They recently won the UNLV's tournament in their first preseason games. Junior setter Steffi Miller says the tournament helped them see what they had to work on as well as what they were already doing well.
I think that last week's tournament went really well for us. We came out strong in the first two matches, and then the third match was good for us because obviously we had to overcome some adversity.
Miller and senior middle blocker Sam Call were both named to the all-tournament team, and junior outside hitter Sienna Stinson was named MVP of the tournament.
The Matadors are on the road again for the rest of their preseason matches, but will return to the Matadome for their Big West home game opener against the University of Hawaii on October 10th. In Northridge, Mahina Haina, Valley View News.
The Baltimore Ravens have terminated Ray Rice's contract with the NFL. The Ravens made the announcement earlier on Twitter. The NFL team's statement came hours after news video surveillance showed the star running back punching his then-fiancée Janae Palmer inside an elevator back in February. In July, during a press conference, Rice said his actions were inexcusable. Hours after the team's tweet, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell announced Rice's indefinite suspension. Rice married Palmer on March 28th. Serena Williams has won her third consecutive U.S. Open singles championship. After a top-ranked opponent, Caroline Wozniacki, hit the ball a little too long, Williams won her set 6-3. Williams cried tears of joy and sobbed the word 18. Williams received a U.S. Open trophy and an 18-karat gold bracelet as an introduction into the 18 Grand Slam Singles Victory Club. Despite the on-court struggle for victory, Williams and Wozniacki complimented one another and may go out for drinks later. The Bryans brothers' victory at the U.S. Open marks their 100th career title as a team. Bob and Mike Bryan defeated Marcel Granollers and Mark Lopez in a close doubles game for their 5th U.S. Open victory. The brothers were attempting to claim all 4 wins in the Grand Slam competition but fell short. The brothers previously lost during the semifinals. They hope to continue playing through the 2016 Olympic Games and increasing their title count. The U.S. Open has produced an unexpected finals match. 14-seed Marin Cilic and 10-seed Kei Nishikori. Kei Nishikori is the first Japanese-born player to reach a Grand Slam final. Nishikori is every publication's cover story, and his success has prompted viewing parties across Japan. His Croatian opponent, Cilic, will also be making his debut in a U.S. Open finals match. Cilic has won 83% of his first serve points and has performed with unshaken poise. Both tools he used beautifully to knock off 17-time Grand Slam champion Roger Federer. Nishikori and Cilic have met before, with Nishikori leading their all-time series 5-2. This will be the first Grand Slam major since 2005, played without Roger Federer, Andy Murray, Rafael Nadal, or Novak Djokovic. The New England Patriots' surprising loss leaves many wondering who is to blame. The Patriots took a season-opening loss with a score of 33-20 against the Miami Dolphins. The team seemed outmatched at the line of scrimmage, especially during the second half. What started out as an effective defensive line seemed to crumble as the game went on. Quarterback Tom Brady was sacked 4 times, which allowed the Dolphins to pull away. The second-best pass rusher for the Patriots spent a lot of time on the sidelines instead of the game. Another issue was that the plays did not match the Dolphins' offensive style. Tom Brady angrily shaved off his beard as a reaction to the loss. The new look may provide a fresh start for Game 2 against the Vikings. A lot of Major League Baseball managers are getting tossed out of games this season. Is the newly implemented instant replay review achieving the peace it had hoped? Indians' Terry Francona, the Brewers' Ron Renisi, and Orioles' Buck Showalter might all agree because they're the only managers who haven't been ejected this year. All other MLB skippers are part of the 107 who have been thrown out in 2014. That is 24 more ejections than the entire 2013 season. 85% of all ejections came after managers and umpires argued, mostly about the strike zone, interference, and instances of unsportsmanlike conduct. Such calls are left to the umpire's judgment and are not reviewable. The Dodgers' Don Mattingly was the latest manager to be kicked out of a game, taking his career total ejections to 15. The Atlanta Hawks owner is forfeiting control of the team after a racially charged email surfaced. Bruce Levinson bought the Hawks in 2004. He told NBA Commissioner Adam Silver about his 2012 email. Some of the statements included, "The kiss cam is too black, and my theory is the black crowd scares away the whites." Levinson showed remorse for his email in a press conference, calling his statements inflammatory nonsense. This is another embarrassment for the NBA, which was recently scandalized by statements by former Clippers owner Donald Sterling. Sterling sold the LA Clippers for $2 billion after an audio recording surfaced where he made racist remarks about African Americans. And that's all for sports today. Back to you.
The Duchess of Cambridge is expecting her second child. Find out how the royal family is preparing for their new baby.
Come on, let's go.
Just a minute, I gotta finish this.
Wait, you're gonna post those pictures of Mary?
Yep. She thinks she's so hot.
But her mom and dad will see them. Her grandmother, her little sister, everyone she knows, it's gonna kill her.
Who cares? Just a couple of pictures. It's no big deal.
No big deal? Don't. This has gotta stop.
People think I'm trash, but they're wrong. Today I'm just an aluminum can, but one day I could be a stadium.
The Last Bookstore in downtown Los Angeles is the largest independent bookstore in Southern California. The 16,000 square foot space manages to compete with ebooks and Amazon by establishing themselves as a fixture of their community.
The way we're able to maintain that and be profitable is the fact that we buy most of our books used from people that are selling them to us in bulk. We are able to sell them for profit while still keeping everything within a very ethical price range for the community.
The Labyrinth, located on the second floor, is like a maze and has more than 100,000 used books. A sculptural window resembles a portal that overlooks other shelves. There is even a tunnel made out of hardcovers. There is also an old vault room that is dedicated to crime and mystery. Typical bookstores usually organize their novels by the author's name. The Last Bookstore has a few shelves that are organized in color.
Definitely the ambience and the kind of books they have here. Just walking around their comic book section, I see a lot of great variety of indie and mainstream reads that it really shows they know what they're doing and they have an appreciation for the subject.
For music lovers, they have an entire section dedicated to vinyls.
The thing about print is that it's still accessible and it's still affordable. And I think like vinyl, and it's kind of relates to like physical books. It's just something that will go through a revival and just something that will never go away.
The second floor is shared with some of the artists from Art Walk. Their studios are open to the public, and some pieces are even expanded throughout the entire store.
We used to use this space for Art Walk, even before the bookstore, and then after the bookstore came, we kept using it. And then the owner just decided to make these shops, and I was amongst one of the first people to get invited, and I jumped on it, like sight unseen. I was like, yes, absolutely, yes.
There aren't too many bookstores around, such as this one, but some customers still value print, despite e-readers and tablets.
Because it's really an art. There's never going to be a comparison about, holding a book, putting the effort into printing a book, making a cover, producing the copies. You can never get that same personal connection with a technological copy.
For those of you who still appreciate traditional print books, records, and art, the Last Bookstore definitely has you covered. In downtown Los Angeles, Daisy Merida, Valley View News.
And now we go to Zoe for the latest in entertainment.
Thanks, Dean. Kate Middleton and Prince William are expecting their second child. The news comes less than 14 months after the birth of their son, Prince George. The baby will become fourth in line to the British throne, pushing Prince Harry to fifth in line. The Duchess is suffering from the same acute morning sickness as she did in her first pregnancy. Doctors at the Kensington Palace are treating the Duchess of Cambridge. Many people continue to mourn the death of comedian Joan Rivers. Celebrities and loved ones all paid their respects to Rivers last Sunday at her funeral. The memorial service took place at a New York synagogue. Howard Stern delivered the eulogy and other close friends gave their tributes. Rivers died at the age of 81 at Mount Sinai Hospital after she went into cardiac arrest following a procedure at a clinic. A reward fund is being gathered in reaction to a prank involving the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. Comedian Drew Carey started it by offering $10,000 to find the pranksters in what turned out to be a cruel stunt. The incident took place last week near Cleveland, Ohio. A group of teenagers dumped a bucket of urine, feces, spit, and cigarette butts on top of a 14-year-old student with autism. The boy's mother found the video of the act on Instagram, and it quickly went viral. Other celebrities are now making pledges to the reward fund. Ex-View host Jenny McCarthy doubled the amount to $20,000. McCarthy's husband said he would also help find the culprits and promised to give an additional $10,000. Superhero Tony Stark may have appeared in the last of the Iron Man movies. Robert Downey Jr. told Variety website there's no plan for a fourth Iron Man. That doesn't necessarily mean that the Downey Jr. has hung up his armor for good. The Avengers series will continue, and Downey will appear as Iron Man in Avengers Age of Ultron. He also signed for a third Avengers movie, Avengers: Age of Ultron. It will be released on May 1st, 2015, while the third Avengers will be released sometime in 2017. Miley Cyrus, Eminem, and Metallica are the new additions to the Guinness Book of World Records. According to Billboard, Metallica was recognized last December in Antarctica for becoming the only band to perform on all 7 continents. Last year's MTV VMAs performance by Miley Cyrus could have been what got her the title as the most searched for pop star on the internet. As for Eminem, his hit single Rap God is also what got him recognized for containing the most words. It totals 1,560 words in 6 minutes and 4 seconds. The 2015 edition of Guinness also features Katy Perry, One Direction, and Shakira. Denzel Washington has made some waves during an Ask Me Anything session with the website Reddit. Yesterday, a user on the site asked Washington if he would like to be the next actor to play James Bond. Washington answered with an enthusiastic yes. Washington then told his fans to take to social media with the hashtag #DenzelIsBond to get the campaign started. Washington will have to wait for his chance at the role because the cast for the next James Bond movie is still being assembled around current Bond star Daniel Craig. The popular East Coast chain Dunkin' Donuts has drawn big crowds after it opened shop in Santa Monica. Valley View's Danny Max was there when crowds of LA natives and East Coast transplants lined up for donuts.
Tuesday, September 2nd, marked the grand opening of Dunkin' Donuts in Santa Monica. Located on the corner of 12th Street and Wilshire Boulevard, this is the first Los Angeles location of the popular East Coast donut chain. Long lines wrap around the block, with wait times often exceeding an hour, just so customers can treat themselves to their signature donuts, bagels, sandwiches, and coffee. Some even camped out Monday night to be first in line for the store's opening.
We had expected a good response. We hadn't expected this kind of response. I think really what it is there's a high concentration of East Coast transplants here in Santa Monica. So I really think that that's what's driving people here. They're looking for a little bit of home on the West Coast.
I'll probably get a light coffee, large light coffee. I've been here about almost 30 minutes now.
I'm most excited about a bacon, egg, and cheese breakfast sandwich on an everything bagel.
Nice. Yeah. And are you prepared for this long wait?
Oh, this is nothing. However long it takes, it doesn't matter. This is the first LA Dunkin' Donuts. I will wait all day if that's what it takes.
Just how popular is Dunkin' Donuts on the East Coast, you ask? Put this in perspective. There are more Dunkin' Donuts in New York City than Starbucks. The Starbucks only a block away on 11th Street refused to comment if the new Dunkin' Donuts had affected their sales. The new Santa Monica location is the first Dunkin' Donuts in California in more than a decade. If demand continues, 200 additional stores will be added throughout California over the next several years.
So if you're in the mood for a donut, get in line early because Dunkin' Donuts will close their doors at 11 p.m. regardless of how long the line is. In Santa Monica, I'm Danny Max for Valley View News.
Thanks for watching Valley View News. I'm Courtney Faust.
And I'm Dean Perez. Have a great week.